You ever get a gift so messed up, it changes your whole life? Yeah, me neither, until my 30th birthday, when my husband Daryl handed me a small velvet box. I thought it was jewelry. Turns out, it was a DNA test, for a baby that wasn't mine. And the wildest part? His own brother helped me unravel the truth. Buckle up, 'cause this story is about to get scandalous. Hey y'all, I'm Valencia Palmer. 30 years old, born and raised in Houston, Texas, and up until 3 months ago, a happily married woman. Or so I thought. Daryl and I met at a charity gala. He was this polished, ambitious real estate broker with a smile that could melt steel. I was a pediatric nurse, used to reading people's pain. But him? I missed everything. We had the perfect life, a renovated craftsman home in Montrose, weekend trips to Galveston, even a golden retriever named Duke. But then, things got weird. Not the usual late nights and lipstick stains kind of weird. No, this was different. It started with the gym obsession. Daryl, who used to hate cardio, suddenly needed to work out at 5 a.m. every morning. Then came the cash withdrawals, $500 every Friday, like clockwork. When I asked, poker night with the guys. Poker night. Right. Except his best friend Troy told me they hadn't played cards in months. But the real red flag? The baby stuff. One night, I found a receipt in his jacket, a $1,200 purchase from Baby Palace. When I confronted him, he laughed. Babe, that's for my assistant's shower gift. But his assistant? Single, no kids. Still, I brushed it off, until the birthday party. Daryl went all out for my 30th, rented a rooftop lounge downtown, invited all my girls, even hired a live band. I was touched, until he handed me that little velvet box. I opened it, expecting diamonds. Instead, a DNA test receipt with some random barcode. What the hell is this? I asked. Daryl's smile faltered. Wrong box, babe. He tried to snatch it back, but I held on. Then she walked in. Jasmine. Long legs, honey blonde curls, and a fitted dress that just hinted at a bump. She wasn't on the guest list. But the way Daryl froze when he saw her? Oh, I knew. Before I could react, Jasmine waved, like she knew me. Then she said the words that shattered my world. Happy birthday. Daryl told me you'd want to celebrate, since we're family now. Silence. Then chaos. My sister, Trina, lunged. Daryl started yelling. And me? I just stood there, staring at that DNA receipt, with his name on it. But the real bomb hadn't dropped yet. Because Daryl's brother, Kellen, pulled me aside and said, Val, you need to see this. Turns out, Kellen had been tracking Daryl for weeks. Not because he cared about me, but because Daryl owed him money. And the way he planned to pay it back? By selling our house. Kellen showed me texts, Daryl telling Jasmine, once the house sells, we can move to Miami like we talked about. And the worst part? The DNA test wasn't for her baby, it was for another one he'd fathered a year ago. 2 secret babies. 1 lying husband. And a brother out for blood. But why expose him now? Because Kellen had his own agenda, and it involved ruining Daryl's life. By sunrise, everyone knew. Daryl's clients. His pastor. Even his mistresses started fighting in my DMs. Jasmine? She went viral on TikTok, crying about how Daryl promised to leave me. Meanwhile, I sat in my car outside the home we built together, realizing I never really knew him. But revenge? Oh, that was just beginning. Because Kellen had one last secret, and it was worse than anything I could have imagined. 3 days after my birthday from hell, I was sitting in my lawyer's office wearing the same sweatpants I'd been crying in since the party when my phone buzzed. It was a notification from our joint account, a $12,000 withdrawal from a Chase Bank in Miami. Miami? Daryl told me he was in Dallas for work. That's when I knew, this wasn't just about the baby. This man was robbing me blind. My lawyer, Ms. Holloway, a no-nonsense black woman who'd handled every messy divorce in Houston, slid a folder across her mahogany desk. Valencia, you need to see this. The documents showed a $287,000 moved from our savings to an offshore account. A second mortgage taken out on our home. $15,000 monthly payments to Jasmine LLC. But here's what really made my blood boil, a $42,000 wire transfer to Monique Williams, dated 2 days after our wedding anniversary. Ms. Holloway steepled her fingers. We need to freeze assets. Now. That night, Keelan showed up at my door with a USB drive. Before you look at this, he said, rubbing his beard nervously, you should know Daryl's been playing all of us. The footage showed A Daryl meeting with a real estate agent about selling our house. Him arguing with Jasmine at a Waffle House. I told you to wait until the divorce. And the kicker, a notarized will leaving everything to my unborn son Daryl Jr. Keelan dropped his voice. He's planning to disappear to Costa Rica next month. But here's what he doesn't know. I'm the one holding his passport. We set the trap at our usual Sunday brunch spot, the one Daryl always went to after church. Keelan wore a wire. I sat at the bar in sunglasses. And when Daryl started bragging to his boys about his new life in Central America, we got every word. Once that dumb bitch signs the papers, I'm out. Her dumb ass didn't even notice I took her grandma's ring. My grandmother's 3-carat heirloom? That's when I lost it. The next 72 hours were a blur. Police freezing Daryl's accounts. Jasmine showing up at my job crying that Daryl stole her money too. Finding out Monique wasn't even pregnant anymore, she'd miscarried and he ghosted her. But the final nail? When the bank manager called about our safe deposit box. Mrs. Palmer? There's something you need to see. Inside the metal box. Fake IDs with Daryl's face. A burner phone with texts to 3 other women. And a positive STD test from the week after our honeymoon. Keelan put his hand on my shoulder. We got him. As of last week. Daryl's law license suspended. All stolen money recovered. Jasmine and Monique now helping my case. But the best part? Finding out Keelan's been working with a private investigator since last year. The morning of our divorce hearing, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror applying red lipstick like war paint. The woman staring back at me wasn't the naive wife who believed Daryl's lies anymore. Today, I wasn't just Valencia Palmer, scorned woman. Today, I was the storm he never saw coming. 3 days before court, my phone buzzed at 2:47 a.m. It was Keelan, his voice tight with urgency. Meet me at the Waffle House on Main. Now. Don't tell anyone. When I got there, sliding into the sticky vinyl booth, Keelan pushed a cracked iPhone across the table. The screen showed Daryl's location at a shady women's clinic across town, along with a series of texts that made my coffee curdle in my stomach. Look at the date stamps, Keelan whispered, his finger tracing the screen. The messages to someone named Tiana were dated 2 weeks before my birthday party. Daryl's words blurred before my eyes. $9,000 should cover the fake sonogram and paperwork. Just play your part when I say so. I nearly dropped the phone when I scrolled to the next thread, this one with Jasmine. Remember, you're just the decoy. The real play is making Valencia think I knocked up a stripper so she'll settle fast. The smell of stale cigarettes and cheap perfume hit me when Tiana opened the door to her rundown apartment. Her eyes widened when I showed her Daryl's photo. That lying sack of shit still owes me 11 grand, she spat, chain-smoking Virginia Slims as she paced her stained carpet. She told me everything, how Daryl had approached her at the club where she danced, how he'd promised her $20,000 to pretend to be pregnant, how he'd ghosted her after paying less than half. Then she handed me the smoking gun, a voicemail recording of Daryl coaching her. Just show up at the courthouse crying, his voice instructed. Wear something tight, say I promised to leave my wife for you. The judge will eat it up. The courthouse smelled like old paper and desperation. Daryl strutted in like he owned the place, that cocky grin still plastered on his face as his lawyer argued I was some money-hungry shrew trying to take what wasn't mine. Then my attorney stood. Your Honor, we have new evidence regarding fraudulent claims of paternity and conspiracy to defraud. I'll never forget the way Daryl's face drained of color as the judge watched the clinic records proving Jasmine had never been pregnant. The way his expensive suit jacket strained across his shoulders when he jerked forward as Tiana's testimony played. The audible gasp from his own mother in the gallery when the screen displayed his real bank records, $500,000 stashed in the Caymans. During recess, Keelan pressed something cold and small into my palm, a safe deposit key he'd found taped behind Daryl's gym locker. The contents of box number 717 at First National Bank stole my breath. My grandmother's stolen emerald ring glittered against the velvet lining, right next to a passport bearing Daryl's photo but the name James Carter. But it was the life insurance policy that made my knees buckle, $1.5 million payout to Daryl upon my death, taken out 3 weeks after he'd first mentioned divorce. My lawyer's hand was already dialing the DA before I could process what this meant. They arrested Daryl right there in the courthouse for insurance fraud. What we didn't know then was that his cellmate was an undercover cop. The recording they played at his sentencing hearing still haunts my dreams. Daryl's voice, so casual as he mused, I just needed her to die after the divorce, maybe a car accident, something that wouldn't look suspicious. Meanwhile, Jasmine showed up at my door with mascara streaking down her face. He told me you were dying, she sobbed. Said you had stage 4 breast cancer and refused treatment. That you wanted him to find love again. At sentencing, when the judge asked Keelan why he'd helped expose his own brother, the entire courtroom leaned forward. Keelan's voice didn't waver. 10 years ago, Daryl drained our mother's retirement accounts. Left her homeless at 62. I've been waiting this long for someone to have the proof I never could. The way Daryl's head snapped toward his brother. That was the moment I realized the man I'd married wasn't just a cheater. He was a predator who'd been practicing his schemes for decades. The Texas sun felt warmer the day the judge awarded me everything. The house, the cars, every penny Daryl had stolen. Keelan started his own PI firm specializing in catching cheating spouses. Jasmine and Tiana somehow became roommates and opened a bakery together. As for Daryl, last I heard, he's serving 7 to 10 in Huntsville, sharing a cell with the same undercover cop who recorded his confession. Sometimes at night, when I'm lying in our my king-sized bed in the house he tried to steal, I think about that last smirk he gave me in court before they led him away in cuffs. Funny thing about karma, it always comes collecting. And honey? The interest is brutal.